the whole town of Matewan is in the National Historical Registry, the whole town. The whole town of Matewan, every building, every house in the city of Matewan, the town of Matewan, is on National Historic Registry because of what happened in this town. No academic self-taught. Road scholar as in road travel. Road travel and walking the ground and learning.
And I think too, when you walk in the footsteps of history, you get a different perspective.
Dale Hawkins. I'm a board member of Mother Jones Museum, where Mother Jones is buried. She asked to be buried there in Mount Olive, Illinois in 1924. She made a request to be buried with her boys, what she called her boys that were killed in Battle of Pershing. They're buried there in Mount Olive. We are here to do an interview with Sid Hatfield's great nephew. This hotel is owned by David Hatfield.
Basically, Sid Hatfield and my great-grandmother were brother and sister.
Another person that Sid Hatfield would have been her great-great-great-uncle, and she's a Hatfield, but she married into McCoy.
My name's Kim McCoy, and I'm the docent here at the West Virginia Mine Wars Museum in downtown historic Matewan.
Do a lot of filming, a lot of talking. This town had a chief of police by the name of Sid Hatfield, who put an end to the oppression of Baldwin Phelps agents by taking their lives here at this town in a gunfight out over there. Amazing town. Just less than a block away from this hotel we're staying at. And then we're going to go to different sites in Holly Grove and Welsh, West Virginia, where Sid Hatfield was murdered on courthouse steps, him and Ed Chambers. All cemetery there at Holly Grove. About this spot. I was blessed to learn about this spot from Wes Harris. He brought me here. Underneath all this overgrowth, every once in a while you see a scattered headstone. That was for people that had family around here that could mark somebody's grave. Lots of times they were marked years later. But underneath of most of this, you'll just find a rock because they were an immigrant, Irish, Italian, whatever. These people were welcomed at Ellis Island and told, we have a job, we have a house, we'll take you there, we'll put it on credit for you, we'll let you pay us back, to be used as strike breakers during the Paint Creek, Cabin Creek War. A lot of these people, when they got here and found out what they were, they was like, the hell with that, they joined the Union. That's really impactful. There's like about 150 graves there, and there's only one headstone. This was in Holly Grove. I mean, getting people off the boat saying, hey, come to here. These people didn't know, you know what I mean? They didn't know what they was getting into. There's a marker here, a Cisco Estep. Cisco Estep was the one and only person that died during the Bull Moose Special run past Holly Grove, where they shot rifles and machine guns into a tent colony. Cisco Estep was actually at his father's house on the porch, and he got his wife shoved through the door as he got hit by a bullet from a machine gun, and it killed him. Back here is his marker. What's the sunken grave? Francis Cisco Estep. And you'll notice it has the same type of marker like what Sid Hatfield and Ed Chambers had. But these were put out by Bill Blizzard when Bill Blizzard was the head of District 17. But all through here, starting to roll down this hill, there's roughly 150 people. Here's an example right here. Stone. That's it. How do your family know what happened to you? There's another one right over there. Stone. So a lot of these people that came, you know, these people trying to find like where the Irish descendants were or their whatever descendants were. They may have come here. For all they know, there could be one of these rocks. And the fact that this is such a sacred ground in Union history, and the fact it's overgrown like this, turns my stomach. There's people out here in West Virginia because the governor of the state of West Virginia, during the Depression, when they had all these writers, when they created all these jobs and making work like the WPA program and all that, they would put out work writers to work writing books about the state, you know, the agriculture, the coal industry, this, that, whatever. Well, the governor of West Virginia did not want it in the state history about the Union movement here, about Paint Creek, the battles, the Union battles here, the bloodshed here in West Virginia. They didn't want it in the history books about the Battle of Blair Mountain, which was the largest armed insurrection on American soil, or the Civil War battle.
There's so much to it, Hawk. I mean, you could come in here and really spend, it's according to how much research you wanted to do.
I've been here 5 years.
Yeah.
I've been here 5 years doing it, and I'm still not.
I'm still learning. I mean, as much as I teach it, and as much as I learn about it, I've read every book on that shelf over there, and I'm still learning things that I don't know. It's so important to be able to teach this history, just to be able to relate to the things that are happening today, because it's not so far off.
No, it's not.
Even 100 years, you know. Absolutely, the government, this is a history that you're not really going to learn about in your 5th grade, 8th grade, or 11th grade American history classes. And that's really sad too, because the struggle that took place here with the miners is something that needs to be told. The way that the coal companies really enslaved these miners. I mean, it was as close to slavery as you could get without it being called slavery, is what these people here went through. And absolutely is not taught in American history. Actually, we have the American history books up to the date that are on display over here. You'll be able to see them in just a minute, and we have them open to the pages where the Battle of Blair Mountain would have actually been taught, and it's completely skipped over. Yeah, there's nothing in the American history books about it. Even West Virginia history.
They didn't want it all reported, and there's stuff that I learned in the 5 years I've been researching this, coming out here, that I have taught them stuff, you know, that they didn't know, and showed them where they could find it, and then they're like, wow, I genuinely, these people, I care about them like they're like an extended family. They become that to me. I'm going to interview David Hatfield.
Massacre or Battle of Matewan, whichever one you want to call it, on May 19th, 1920. We had a standoff, shot rang out, the mayor drops to the ground, and all, you know, what broke loose. And the mayor and Sid both knew that at any time, either one of them or both of them could have been killed, because they'd refused bribes by the coal company, and so forth and so on. If you're faced off in a gunfight, or a potential gunfight, are you going to somehow take time out to fire the first shot at your friend, and nobody's going to see you do it right out in the open in front of everybody? Doesn't quite make sense. Well, the evils here came here from New York City in the form of the coal company owners and what have you, that took advantage of poor mountain folk that you know, were self-sustaining before they came here, and ended up becoming their slaves, basically.
Okay.
A lot of these people were brought in from Ellis Island, so they were promised the American dream, and what they really got was as close to slavery as it could be without it being called slavery. The Baldwin Felts detectives had been evicting the coal miners adjacent to town. I'm sure that they knew that they were next in line, and when the Baldwin Felts detectives arrived that morning, they were just up the street here evicting the coal miners, and Sid Hatfield actually met them up there and had a conversation. I'm sure that that's when the decision would have been made to plan that those detectives weren't going to leave town that day. That's the kind of vengeance that happens here in the mountains.
Pretty neat. You're right in the Matewan's is basically the center of the Hatfield-McCoy feud. Then it became ground zero for the United Mine Workers movement in the early 1900s. Basically, they called Matewan, referred to Matewan as a beachhead to try to unionize, and Matewan was an independent town, which meant that the town was not owned by a coal company. So basically, they didn't have the mine guard system. They didn't have the rules of a coal baron established on the town. This was a free town. That's what they called an independent town. roughly about 85% to 90% of the towns in West Virginia were coal camp towns. They were owned by the coal mine. Very few independent towns in this state. Matewan was one of them. And when that shootout happened here, they made a mistake when they came to evict the people down at the Stone Mountain camp, because when they did that eviction, it was on Miner Relief Day, and you had a bunch of miners that were out of work, and they were all here in town getting beans and stuff like that the United Mine Workers would hand out for people to live on. And there was a whole bunch of extra miners in town with a whole bunch of guns. What they would refer to as mountain justice happened here, and 7 Vollenfels agents were killed, and basically the attitude was they had it coming. Mountain justice. And the bodies were not treated very well. They were very disrespected. That's the sad part of it. During the time, there was a time here in Matewan where they had martial law established.
Anytime that you try to take somebody's rights away from them, that would be evil. Anytime that you try to manipulate a person's ability to just be human, that's evil. Just to be able to live and breathe and walk down the street and talk to your friends, if you can't do that, that's evil.
To where, say like, if 3 people were talking together, that was a crime. It was called bunching, because 3 people talking together could be up to no good. And they would arrest you with no court date, no nothing. You just held it definitely under martial law, because under martial law you have no court date, you have no rights. People don't understand how dramatic martial law is, and that's why the miners were marching, because roughly about 10,000 miners went on the march to free the people here in Matewan from martial law. But they had to go through Logan County, and Sheriff Don Chapin was paid really, really well monthly to keep any and all union out of Logan County. And it was known, in order for the miners to get to Matewan, they had to go through Logan County, and they met what they called the Citizens Committee, which was business owners, hired guns, sheriff deputies, whoever Don Chapin could get to put a gun in their hand. There's about 2,000 of them. They were up on Blair Mountain. They had rifles, they had machine guns, Thompson submachine guns. There were state police issue only rifles, which meant there would be state police officers that would have been up.